Hello everyone and welcome back to Government Minute. Do you want to play a game? We're going to play in 4 weeks. On Monday, April 15th, we're going to play a game. Okay? It's called hide and seek. I guarantee you will be found. Because the other entity that plays this game will look for you. They will find you. And they will fine you if you're not found by then. What is it? Who is it? We'll talk about it next because Government Minute starts right now. Hello Raindrops, new subscribers, and old friends, and welcome back to Government Minute. Minutes that matter. This is Mr. A asking you to do 3 things right now. Like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell so you know when our videos come out. As always, this video is dedicated to the glory of God who blessed this land. Hello everyone and welcome back to Government Minute. I want to talk to you about this game we're going to play in 4 weeks, exactly 4 weeks from today, April 15th, Monday, April 15th, 2024. It is called Pay Your Taxes Day. And if you haven't filed already, you need to on or before April 15th, or they will come find you. Who? Who will come find you? Oh, they will search you down to the ends of the earth. Do you remember that movie War Games with Matthew Broderick back in the day? Shall we play a game? This is no game. You need to report your income and pay your taxes to the IRS. That is your the entity that is going to find you if you don't show up, if you don't turn yourself in. So make sure you get your taxes filed by Monday, April 15th, or file for an extension because they will come find you and fine you. So anyway, we're going to talk about taxes today. Who pays them? What percentage do people pay? And that kind of thing. And then in our next week's episode, we're going to talk about an alternative to this nasty, convoluted, sickening, confusing system we have right now that is just way, way out of control and gives way too much power to the idiots, to our elected representatives in Washington. Not to mention the unelected bureaucrats who we don't know. So let's talk about taxes. Right now, we pay taxes on our income, and the 16th Amendment says wherever we get our income, we pay taxes on it. As of right now, for fiscal year 2020, for last year, we pay taxes on a annual basis, a calendar annual basis, not a fiscal year. But as of right now, we have 7 tax brackets. Okay, and please follow along, and you will see the numbers as I read them. So the bottom rate for taxes is 10%. And people that make from nothing to $22,000 pay 10%. The next tax bracket is 12%. And that is you're taxed at 12% on any money, any income from $22,001 to $89,450. Okay, 12%. Next bracket is 22%. So from any money you make above $89,450, so from $89,451 to $190,750, you pay 22% of that income. The next bracket is 24%, and that you pay 24% on any dollars earned between $190,751 and $364,200. Next bracket after that is 32%. We're getting to the point where the government is taking one third of some people's part of their income. Something doesn't seem right there. But anyway, the 32% bracket is on any money earned between $364,201 to $462,500. 35%, one more tax bracket, 2 more tax brackets. 35% is the next one. Your money between $462,501 and $693,750 is taxed at 35%. And finally, the highest tax rate as of right now in this country is for income that is at $693,751 or above. That's right. So those 7 tax brackets. Now you are not taxed if you make $700,000. Your entire tax is not 37% of $700,000. It is broken down by those brackets that you see up there and the dollar amounts. And so just that portion that you see up here is taxed at that level. Okay, so it's not the entire $700,000. It is taxed by income strata, by dollar strata, as you see up on the board. So the tax code. Let's talk about the tax code. American businesses spend an inordinate amount of time, an absurd amount of time on compliance, record keeping, lobbying, businesses lobbying and other tasks related to our tax code to make sure we have all our ducks in a row, our documentation in, all our I's dotted and our T's crossed to make sure everything is right. As far as, it costs us individuals time and sometimes money when we have to go to professionals to do this, because it is beyond the comprehension of a lot of Americans. The tax code by itself, 8.5 by 11 pages, according to the IRS, is 6,871 pages. Now, who among all of us have the time and expertise to understand that fully? Very few people. So there are professionals that do this. Now, that is just the official tax code. If you add IRS tax guidelines and tax regulations, and when you include that, it goes up to about 75,000 pages. Let me let that sink in. 75,000 pages. Is that absurd or what? Do you think anyone in this country gets every single thing on every single tax return correct? You know, I heard that if you call the IRS for help and they tell you something and it is against the tax code, they made a mistake, the person on the end of the line makes a mistake and tells you something and it is wrong, it's not their fault, it's yours. As a taxpayer, you need to be aware of all 6,871 pages of the tax code, and then when you throw in tax regulations and tax guidelines from the IRS, 75,000 pages. The average reader in this country probably needs pictures and colors to go with it, crayons to color the pictures to help understand it. But the average person who actually reads, it would take approximately 15 weeks of reading to get to those 75,000 pages. 15 straight weeks. No eating, no sleeping, no showering, no working, nothing else, okay? If that's all you do, 15 weeks. And the code is constantly changing. So what happened, what was was correct last year isn't going to be correct this year, or vice versa. They're going to change things, and it is just a complicated, complex mess. And it is done to appease certain groups and favor certain groups. And it gives Congress the power to tell you, hey, if you do this, you can get a tax cut. If you do this, we're going to charge you more. And so this is the system we have now. And businesses, when they have to have the accounting departments, and they have to have the tax compliance departments, and they have to pay for lobbyists, and they have to do all these different things to comply with this complex, gargantuan tax code, they have to pass that cost on to someone, and guess who? You. That's right. The costs of doing business, from the product to getting it to the shelf and taking care of all the employees, tax compliance, Social Security, Medicare, payroll taxes, IRS regulations, all that cost gets passed on to you. So there is a built-in cost of everything you buy that accounts for all this tax compliance. And so it is just crazy, and it's ridiculous, and there's got to be a simpler way. We'll talk about that next week. Before we go, I do want to talk about who pays the taxes in this country. According to the National Taxpayer Union Foundation, and according to them, this was from IRS figures, what percentage of people, of wage earners, pay what percent of taxes? We always hear, more tax cuts for the rich, more tax cuts for the rich. Well, if they're the only ones paying, if you're going to cut taxes, they should go to the people paying, right? So then follow this along, right up here. The top 1% of all taxpayers this is with the income of $682,577 and above, pays almost half, 46% of all taxes paid, all income taxes paid. Now, in these figures I'm giving you, I am rounding up or down depending on the 0.7, 0.4, whatever. So 46% of all taxes are paid by the top 1%. So the top 5%, with incomes of $252,840 and above, pay 66% of all taxes. 2/3. 5% of all taxpayers pay 2/3 of all income taxes. Let's go to the top 10%. With incomes of $169,800 and above, they pay 76% of all taxes. 76%. Top 25%. With incomes of $94,440 and above, pay 89% of all taxes. So 1/4 of all people pay about almost 90% of all taxes. And finally, the top 50% of all taxpayers, making $46,637 and above, pay 98% of all taxes. And the bottom 50%, the bottom half of all taxpayers, pay 2%. 2%. How come the rich always get the tax cuts? They're the ones paying taxes. That's why. When 1% pay 46% of taxes, to get a cut, you have to be paying. Okay? To get a cut, you have to be paying some taxes, or else you can't get a cut, right? So that is what we're dealing with. That is what we're stuck with. That is what we have right now. This system that is utterly ridiculous, utterly gargantuan, and utterly unfathomable is what we have now. There is a better way, and we'll talk about that next week. And so I urge you to join us next week for the next installment of taxes and a better way to do it. By the way, President Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden have both secured their party's nomination in delegates. So we will have round 2 of Biden versus Trump on November 5th, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you paid attention, because there will be a test at the next election. This is Mr. A reminding you that we, the people, are the government. We'll see you next time.